we come together here to console and encourage all those who lived, worked, and loved Professor Juma, and also to honor and celebrate his life as well as his achievements. Our words of commemoration and consolation cannot match the achievements that he made, but they can assuage grief and remind us to emulate the examples that he set. Professor Juma enjoyed an exemplary career as a teacher, a technologist, an author, as we have just heard, and an authority on innovation. His journey, as we know, may have ended in Boston, but it had begun in Busia, right here in Kenya. As we have heard, the first act of his career was probably his graduation from Ugoji Teachers College, and he went on to teach and to impart his love of learning to many. Before long, he had moved into policy work, founding the Africa Center for Technology Studies, and he was later to become the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, before making his way finally to Harvard, where he taught development and innovation and mentored a whole generation of students. That, in just bare outline, is the formal career of the scholar that we celebrate and honor today. But we must also ask ourselves that what can we learn from his life? And what are the lessons that he has left us? I believe the first is also perseverance. Professor Juma's formal teaching career began at Ugoji, but ended at Harvard. This is the power of persistence, for he simply kept going, improving himself and his students along the way. I believe we ought to take that lesson to heart. The second virtue he taught us is to treasure innovation. If something didn't work, Professor Juma was willing to try something different. And if it could be done better, he would show how it could be done. He never gave up. Indeed, anyone who has read his book on innovation and its enemies will know that he understood resistance to innovation, and he knew that it could be overcome by patient education as well as institutional change. His clear-eyed devotion to innovation is now more important than it was when he began his career, and this is something we can all learn from him. We ought also learn to love learning as he did. Indeed, as I said earlier, his appetite for knowledge, and more importantly, his generosity in sharing it, was astonishing. We celebrate and honor Professor Juma's achievements. We pray for peace and courage for his family, and for the consolation that comes from knowing that he lived a life of humility and service to his country, to our continent, and to the world. Indeed, it was an exceptionally well-lived life.